One morning, Mr. and Mrs. Brown woke feeling ill, so they went straight back to bed again. The trouble was that with Jonathan and Judy at school and Mrs. Bird away on holiday, there was no one left to take care of them. "Don't worry," said Paddington. "I'll look after you. Bears are good at looking after people. I'll make you a stew. Aunt Lucy always made one when I wasn't well." "Oh, dear," groaned Mr. Brown. "I think I feel a relapse coming on." Paddington was very keen on cooking. At least, he always felt he would be if he ever got the chance to have a go. And although he'd never actually made a stew before, he'd often watched Mrs. Bird at work. Mrs. Bird made very good stews. If he had any complaints at all, it was that her dumplings were a little on the small side. Paddington decided that his dumplings would be the biggest ever made. Making dumplings was much harder work than Paddington had expected. And what with that, and the heat of the kitchen, he soon started to nod off. He wasn't sure how long he slept, but he woke with a nasty feeling that he wasn't alone, and that something was coming nearer and nearer. "That's funny," said Mr. Brown. "There's a great big white thing suddenly appeared in the rockery. It wasn't there just now." "A white thing, Mr. Brown?" said Paddington innocently. "Perhaps it's a snowball. In midsummer?" "That bird doesn't seem to think much of it," said Mr. Brown. "It's just broken its beak." "Oh, dear," said Paddington. "In that case, I should hurry up and eat yours before it sets." "Before it sets," repeated Mr. Brown. "Yes," said Paddington. "I'm afraid I've been having trouble with my dumplings, but don't worry. I've got some spare mixture under my... At least, I think if you'll excuse me, I'll just go and put my head under the tap." "Put your head under the tap?" Mr. and Mrs. Brown looked at each other uneasily. "You may want some seconds," explained Paddington, "and I wouldn't want to disappoint you." There's nothing worse than being without dumplings, especially when you're ill.